So, I look at your career and where it is now, and I remember your Patriot, once interviewing your Patriots games, co-star Sam Jackson, who told me he works a lot because he gets insecure when he has downtime and he thinks the phone's going to stop ringing. Now, I'm looking at your pace at age 80, and I think Sam might say, damn, Harrison is working a lot. Now, you got 2 TV series. You have
I'm not working more than Sam. Nobody works more than Sam.
No, that's true. It's work and golf. But I remember a day when your career was building. You'd do a big star movie a year or a year and a half, and then you'd go away, and we couldn't wait for you to come back. What does a more prolific pace right now feed in you?
I think worthy objects of my attention. I ran into a vein of really good writing. And, we see film scripts all the time that are, one sees film scripts all the time that are just, that you say, no, it's not good. It's not good enough. Well, when you see stuff that is written as well as Shrinking is written, as well as 1923 is written, you want a piece of the action. And that's what you've been hoping to find, these things. So when they come along, they're pretty hard to turn down. And I don't play golf, so I got a lot of time to do these things. But Indiana Jones doesn't fall into that category. Of course, I feel that the script is beautifully written. I mean, it wouldn't be there if we didn't all agree that we had a great script. But I think I've answered the question about why I'm working so much. But this is what I'm working on right now, is Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, I know for myself, all my relatives seem to be retiring in their early 60s, and I feel like they're going to need the jaws of life to pry me out of this job. I bet you're just having as much fun as you've had in your life.
I'm having as much fun as I've ever had, and that's a big part of why I'm here. Yeah.
Now, in this movie, what I appreciated about it is, you don't ignore the fact that people age, even Indiana Jones. But there's plenty in here so you don't feel like, that fighter who stayed in the ring too long. When we see you at first, you get up, you're in your skivvies and you're shirtless, and I thought, wow, I'm never going to look like that. It's hopeless. And I'm 63. But what were you trying to tell us at that moment about Indiana Jones and about how people age?
You had, in order to see that scene in the movie, you have to sit through the first 20 minutes of the film, in which you spend time with a 40-year-old Indiana Jones, the one you're familiar with. It's 1944. It's the end of World War II, and you are witnessing the conclusion of another adventure, which you don't get to know about very much. This is the shape of the teasers that are at the front of every Indiana Jones movie. But in this one, which we didn't do in the others, we introduced what we call the MacGuffin, the object of our quest, the sacred or magical or somehow mysterious object. And the reason I wanted to do another Indiana Jones film was because I was of my current age. I wanted to see Indiana Jones as an older man. I wanted to see him dealing with the loss of his youth, dealing with the loss of his vigor, dealing with the fact that he's teaching archaeology to people that give rat's ass about what he's talking about in the past. They're interested. Men are on the moon, man. There's rock and roll music playing in the streets. There's a civil rights movement under place. There's a women's movement under place. There's a youth movement. There's psychedelic drugs and all that kind of stuff. And he's, man, what the? He's lost.
Yeah.
His marriage is in disarray. You'll learn later. But what I wanted from the cut, it's a hard cut from 1944 to 1969. I wanted to express character. I wanted you to feel that he was not the Indiana Jones you knew, and wonder why, and want to know more.
Yeah.
So I wanted, first of all, the reason I wanted to be in my underwear was because I wanted to be vulnerable, to look vulnerable. The reason I was sitting in the chair with my back to the camera is because I had an empty glass in my hand. Oh, well, it's a sign. We know what that means, don't we? Yeah. And then the rock and roll music, well, they paid $1 million for that rock and roll music. That was pretty iconic music. That brought us right back, right to that space.
Yes.
And then there's a beautiful little comic scene about being crazy with the neighbor who's playing loud music again. But it's so beautifully written. It's genius. And I'm there with my shirt off because I'd been recovering from some kind of orthopedic injury. Oh yeah, I tore my right shoulder at the beginning of the movie, and so I was in shit shape, man. I looked like worse than I've ever looked in my life, and I hope so, because that's what I thought I was expressing. And I'm walking, and now people say, "Oh, he looks pretty good."
You did.
I
was
doing everything to do to express this thing about the character. The beauty of this writing, this director, this combination of actors is really good. I mean, the people who left this room are geniuses. Mads, I mean, Mads is a fantastic actor. I can't tell you how much he brought to this. Phoebe, just a genius about human relationships and emotional realities.
Yeah.
You know, a revolutionary, and turns out she's really good at action stuff and stuff. Who thought that? But I mean, just people throwing themselves into these things and really working hard to make a great entertainment.
Yeah, she's a shot of life for sure. So now, with the action, you get to ride a horse in the subway. There's all the swashbuckling.
I get to ride a horse in 1923. I got a horse at home.
Yeah, but how many times have you ridden in the subway?
Well, they wouldn't let me ride in the subway.
Well, was there, and you say you tore your shoulder, was there anything perhaps that you thought, oof, do I want to do this? And then you did it, and you walked away saying, yeah, I can still dial it up when I need to.
Oh, not physically, no. I mean, we wanted the age to be, we wanted the action sequences to reflect the age of the character.
Yeah.
We weren't running away from the age of the character. That was a part of the story. The whole story is about time. We have here the Archimedes' invention, which we call the dial of destiny. That actually existed. We don't have any proof that it worked the way that it works in the movie.
Yeah.
But Archimedes actually made this instrument. This is a historic reality. Parts of it were found. It didn't work. I mean, nobody could move those parts or anything. But but that time is also, that's about time. The movie is about time because we're able to go to the past, and the character is about time. Time is running out. He's been this, now he's this. What's left in his life that has to be done? Well, he has to atone. He has to, the story's got to make him whole again. I mean, that's what we want emotionally. And so that's the emotional power of the film, I think.
Well, I would imagine, you're the keeper of the flame along with Spielberg and Lucas and a few others. How long and how active a participant were you in finding something that could live up to being the final adventure for Indiana Jones?
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, I was the one who was pressing to do another one. I thought that there was a value in doing one more, because I didn't feel that we finished the movie with the marriage to Marion, which was at the end of the preceding film.
Right.
I wanted to know what happened to Marion, and her marriage. And so I can't, and Jim Mangold developed this script. Jim Mangold came along when Stephen stepped back because he was about to shoot Fabelmans, and we'd been trying for years to get a script that everybody was happy with. And then Jim stepped in and developed this really extraordinary script, I believe. And then, of course, I'd worked with him as a director. I was ambitious to work with him again. He was a perfect director for this thing, and everybody agreed, and off we go.
Well, we mentioned we did a memorable interview back in 2002. I came to your New York apartment, and I was in the middle of refurbishing my house and cutting moldings and finishing a basement. And then you pulled out these architectural drawings of your own renovation that you made yourself, humbling me considerably, I have to say. And I could tell the care you put into that work. And I always wondered if you found a correlation between growing up and becoming a craftsman as a carpenter to the craft of acting. There's got to be some attention to the meticulous detail that Carpentry brought to you that helped you build more iconic characters than most other actors.
I was an actor who became a carpenter. I went out to Los Angeles to be an actor. I graduated from college, did a season summer stock, wanted to be an actor. All I knew about acting was you either go to the East Coast or the West Coast, or you do dinner theater for the rest of your life. So I flipped a coin and I ended up on the West Coast. And I did a couple of plays there, and then somebody sent me to the movie studio to meet people in the casting department, and I suddenly had an acting. Suddenly, I was an actor. At $150 a week, and all the respect that implies. And then I have a young family. We were able to scrape together enough money to buy a small, broken-down home, and that's when I became a carpenter. So I had never really done carpentry work. I learned it from books, but I became a carpenter, and I did I'd do a carpentry job, and then I would take an acting job if it was better than the one I had before. But I wouldn't go backwards. I wanted better jobs, more money, better billing, so on and so forth, the usual quest. But I was able to sustain my family and make these choices because I picked up a second way of making a living. Is there a correlation between carpentry and building a character? In my mind, there is. There's a solid foundation. If that's square and tight and solid, then you can put some sticks up and begin a first floor. Without the solid foundation, without a script, without a character that you know, to put on that. But I'm not going to bore you with extending this metaphor any further. But it's just it is detail. It is. It's attending to the detail mechanically. You know. Just observing where there's things that seem to be broken or not working, or there's a hole here, and trying to fill that. Think about it, and talk about it, and find language with your director who you've never met before, to explore these kinds of things. And really, the experience adds up after a while. And you begin to understand what the hell's going on around you and how you can both affect it and be useful to it. But the principal thing, I think always, is that you may come with whatever you come from. You come from you know, the theater, and you have an idea maybe that movies aren't as powerful, or you have an ambition in life, and this is just the job, however you get there, the job is, when you get there, is to be useful. Find a way to be useful to the story, to the other characters that you're working with, to the other actors, to everybody. And that results in the glue that holds the whole thing together.
One more thing about constructing, because the career you constructed, the choices were thoughtful. You got to show different sides. You worked with great filmmakers. You know, we look at the people.
I'm going to interject here. I grew up in a time when the movie business was in its heyday. Yeah. American film was driving the culture, and the culture was cohesive. There were more movies being made. They were being seen all around the world. There were fantastic directors working. There was the Pollocks and the Pakulas and the Spielbergs and Peter Weir and Sidney Pollack and Mike Nichols, and it goes on and on. Of course, we had fantastic. So I came along out of Star Wars, 35 years old. I was right age. The movie business, there were lots of roles. There were lots of people, you know, making it. So that's the context. That's the soil I grew up out of. So I was lucky.
But so right now, so Denzel Washington, same thing, you know, very much a similar guy to you. Tom Cruise, there's something about, there's no sign of us getting tired of seeing them, with the exception of Leonardo and a few other people. We don't really see these star careers being nurtured and making us feel like we're going to want to see somebody for 45 years. What would you say is the hardest thing in today's society, whether it's social media or political polarization, that works against the ecosystem of building superstars?
Well, not a lot of actors actually want to be superstars, you know? I don't think. I meet them all the time. That's not their interest. I never wanted to be anything more than employed as an actor. I thought maybe I would get a regular part on a television series. All I wanted to do was make a living as an actor.
Wow.
And I never thought about I would have a leading man part. I was a character actor, I thought.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, there was a situation in which I was a piece of raw material, and somebody just said, you know, that I can do something with that, you know, right? I can straighten up this part, and, you know, patch up that part, whatever the hell. But I don't know. What I'm saying is that there was a lot of work, and that I was at the right age and the right place to do it.
But maybe what you say about it being a certain time, it's like I remember there was a time when Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran and Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, and it was the greatest time in that division of boxing. We've never seen anything like it. Maybe it is a moment of its time. Now it does seem to be more about concepts than it does sort of building stars. But I have to say, I kind of miss them. You know, that's just my own observation.
Yeah, and by the way, I never really thought about career. For me, the thing I had in my head always, when I started to have these opportunities, was, okay, I get it. I do one for them, and it makes some money, and then I can take that success of theirs, and because I'm attached to it, then I can do something else that maybe I'm just doing it for me.
Yeah.
Maybe there's no money in it. Maybe nobody likes this guy or doesn't feel the same way about the script that I do, but I want to do that. And I can do that because I just did this.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is this. There's nothing better. But I could also, you know, do other kinds of things.
Right.
So that's the kind of career building that I was talking about. I had no idea. I didn't give a shit about the long term. I'm talking, you know, I'm going to go from here. What's the next? Do I go here? What's going on here? I was just making decisions that were in the moment,
Yeah.
with the reality that was around me.
Now, last thing, I love Sean Connery, and he played your dad in the third film. Tell me a good story about him that maybe illustrated what was great about a guy like that. He just seemed to get more interesting as he got older.
I got their story. So the first time I met Sean, we met. I was really excited about it. So I can't remember where we were, in some hotel, and they had that tennis court. And he said, "What are you going to do, boy?" And I said, "Nothing. I'm just going to take a nap." He said, "Yeah, Mom, play some tennis. Come on." Blah, blah, blah. So I see you play tennis once or twice. Come on, let's go play tennis. So doubles. I don't know who. I can't remember who else was there. But he said, "Okay, you serve." And the first time I hit the ball, because I didn't hit it the first 3 times, because and he kept turning around looking at me. The first time I hit the ball, I hit it pretty hard, and it went right into the back of his head. I'm supposed to be on the same team he is, right? Yeah. Well, I did it about 2 more times, and I was taken out of the game. He was just exactly what he. I mean, he had a real warmth to him, and he was funny as hell, really smart, and very kind to me. I love the guy.
And what did he say when you first hit him in the head with the ball?
It's not dark enough or late enough for me to say what he said.
This is wonderful. Well, it's always a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.